Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. Let's begin with today's class. In today's class, we are going to study about our next topic, that is right to freedom. We had already studied the first two paragraphs of right to freedom. In this, we studied that the Constitution of India gives our Indian citizens 6 different types of freedoms, and along with that, there are also many other things which are to be noted in the right to freedom. Let's continue with the chapter. Indian citizens have been given the freedom of speech and expression. So, as we all know that our Indian Constitution provides all the Indian citizens the right to freedom and speech. This can be expressed either orally, verbally, and through gestures. So, our Indian citizens are free either to speak, either to write, or either to express their gestures. But that does not provide for exercising these rights is unlimited and unrestrained manner, right? So basically these rights which are being given by the Indian Constitution to the Indian citizen is for the speech and expression, and any Indian citizen can express his or her thought either orally or verbally, or either through his or her gestures, right? Along with that this does not provide for exercising these rights in unlimited and unrestrained. Unrestrained over here means that this thing or this limit is not being controlled. You can speak or write your own thoughts, right? Uncertain means uncontrolled or unrestricted. Certain necessary controls and limitations have been stated in the Constitution. So there are also some rules for the limit, right? You cannot write anything and everything on anybody, or anything which is against the country or something like that, right? You can, that also, the freedom of speech and expression also has certain limit which are being stated in the Constitution also. The state can put required control to law and order for maintaining the unity and integrity of India, safety of the state, for amicable relation with foreign nations, public management, public peace, compromise and safety, morality, discipline, contempt of court, defamation and provoking violence for crime. So along with that, to maintain other things such as crime and other public management, other public peace, safety of the people, foreign relations, right? This all thing can be maintained by the state by putting control over certain things and making laws and orders for under some limitations, right? So you are not free. You have the right to freedom of speech and expression, but that doesn't mean that you can speak anything or express anything. Like, that should be appropriate, and that also should have a limit in itself. Along with that, to maintain this freedom and this right, the state has been made certain rules and regulations to be followed, and certain limitations that only these things can be accepted as in the right to freedom and speech. Other than that, there should be punishment for the when it comes to the safety of people and other national safety, along with that public safety, then foreign relations, public management, public peace. These all should also be maintained. So there are certain laws and rules which are made in the Constitution as well. The purpose behind freedom of press, through which ideas and opinions put forth for public welfare, has not been separately mentioned. It can be included in the right to expression. So you also see that in the newspaper there are many articles or many personal things which are written, personal opinions which are written. So everyone is free to put his or her opinions into public, right? So this thing is not differently mentioned. This thing comes into right to expression in our constitution. So everyone is free to put his or her own expression, put forward his or her own freedom in front of the press, right, in front of the public. And this thing has not been separately mentioned. This thing, that this freedom is included in the right to expression, that you are free to put your opinion, put forward your opinion in front of public or in the press, right? Now, next is the latest amendment of 2009 in the Constitution of India confers free and compulsory primary education. So, this amendment, which was made in 2019 in our Constitution, has given free and compulsory primary education for children between 6 to 14 years of age. If a person is not convicted for a crime, that he cannot be sentenced to punishment or more punishment than the one prescribed by the law. So, along with that, this primary education, if a person has committed a crime or convicted a crime, then he can be punished only for the breaking of law, only for the thing or the crime he has done. You cannot punish, or the courts cannot punish that person more than what he has done, and only that punishment should be given which is mentioned in the constitution for that crime. No other extra punishment can be given to that person, cannot be given the punishment more than once, cannot be given the same convicted person. So you cannot punish one person for one crime for more than once, right? If a person has done a crime, he should be punished only once, not more than that. So no individual can be deprived for his life and liberty except by the procedure of law. So along with that, no person or not any person can punish that person for the crime he has done. Only law can punish him. No other individual is given the permission to punish that person. No one can be arrested without being told the ground for such arrest. See, you cannot be arrested, like if suddenly someone comes and tells you or arrests you, you can ask, or you can tell that or ask the person that what is the reason for the arrest. No one can arrest you without knowing the reason, right? If you don't know the reason, you can freely, you have this right that you can ask, and then only that person can arrest you. If arrest, the person has the right to defend him or herself by a lawyer of his or her choice. See, so if a person is being arrested, then he or she has also given the right that he or she can defend or protect themselves by hiring another lawyer of his or her choice, right? You or the law cannot give him the lawyer. The person who has been arrested, they are free to choose, or they are free to hire a lawyer of his or her choice. An arrested person has been brought before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours. So along with that, when a person is arrested, he has to be brought in front of the magistrate within 24 hours. Without the permission, no individual can be kept in custody. See, one more thing, that no one can be kept in the custody without the individual's permission. As per the Prohibition Act, the person under arrest will not be applicable to foresaid matters. So if a person is arrested under some crime, then he or she cannot be asked for the permission, or he or she has to be under arrest, right, for the further matters, right? Along with that, preventive detentions, if the state anticipates any criminal deed or activity for any person, then as a precautionary measures, that person can be detained by the state under an Preventive Detention Act. The purpose of this act is not to punish a convict but to stop him from doing any criminal activities against state. So if a person is doing any illegal or criminal activities against the state or nation, then the state has the right to punish him so that he or she stops doing that criminal activities against the state, society, or any particular individual. Along with that, under this act, a person can be detained not more than 3 months. The detention or order can be cancelled based on the opinion of the judges of Supreme Court or members of the advisory board. The state can decide the term of detention. So the person who has been arrested, he cannot be detained more than 3 months, and along with that, the detention or order can be cancelled based on the opinions of the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court gives them permission to get detained, then he or she has to work according to the Supreme Court's order or the orders of the members of the advisory board. The state can decide the term of detention, right? So this was all about the right to freedom and expression, right? So I'm going to stop with this chapter today. We'll continue the next right, that is right against exploitation, in our next class. So till then, take care. Thank you.